Recording is on.
All right, so welcome to, I don't know what we call this call, Arké intro project intro call. So I'll be the host and presenter here, I guess. So I was actually wanted to see, does one of you know what Arké is? Have you looked at it? What is it? What do you know about it?
As far as I know, it is built solely by Christoph, and it is an execution of the Arké of a specific protocol. I forget the protocol name, but Christoph is implementing a whole bunch of things, design practices from the Bitcoin Design Guide into Arké and seeing how they work in real life. Trying to build the best of class wallet.
Yes, that's kind of the that's great. So I'm just going to share the website here, and I'm just kind of curious what everyone thinks when they see the website here. If there are any thoughts on it, I'm also pulling it up here in the background. What do you make?
Well, I was about to say, like, the first thing that I think when I see the website is RK going to make me so rich that I can fly in a private jet?
Yeah. Okay. Can't. No, definitely not. You'll have to do that by yourself.
Yeah, like whenever I see the website, I feel like I want to be rich, man, you know?
Oh, okay. Okay. All right. I don't think it's going to make anyone rich, so I have to disappoint you there. But yeah, so this is a project that came out of basically spending like 5 years working in the Bitcoin open source system, working on the Bitcoin Design Guide, working with lots of wallets, consulting in some way, giving tips, trying to do pull requests in one thing or another. And over the years too, occasionally, I would do some explorations. I've got some here. Like very early on, I was speaking with Johns about subscriptions, and so I did some subscription mock-ups. And for some reason, I was like, let's make it Pokemon, the themed Bitcoin wallet. That's just for the fun of it. And then, sometimes later, this was done by Chris. Can't forget it. What is his last name? Chris, who also helped with Bitcoin UI Kit. He did for Mutiny Wallet. He did the super cool covers, taking kind of the pixel art and really leaning into the pirate theme. And those were some that I did, and he did more of the pixel stuff. Well, here was something where, like a quick mock-up in exploration, where it was like, hey, if you do something really reckless in your app, if you have like a basic single sig whatever wallet, and you put like tons of money in there, let's not just give you a warning, like let's make this scream like you're doing something wrong. Let's make you feel like you should take an action, like you're being really reckless. Or here was another thing that was basically, well, I do Duolingo, so why not give you streaks? So like we encourage you to save Bitcoin. You basically don't have to do anything. It's not like you're learning anything like Duolingo, but how does that make you feel? How does it change how you interact? So there were a bunch of explorations that are in the design guide, and maybe some fun ones too. And I just didn't know of any wallet that really tried to be ambitious in all of these ways, that was really just iterating super fast and trying to be really ambitious in the way, in like the visual execution, and just do all these best practice, everything in one, right? Just be like a reference in creatively, in like the usability focused execution, maybe some of the technical stuff or so. I didn't know anything. And then vibe coding came around, and I was like, maybe I can do some tests. Maybe I can experiment a little bit, do some prototypes. And that basically led to kind of Arké now, where it's like, turns out you can actually do a ton as a kind of a technical minded designer, with just being stubborn enough. So that's kind of where Arké is today. It implements the Ark protocol, which is not even on mainnet yet. It's kind of like Lightning, except that instead of single channels, you have like a server that makes payments fast and Lofi. Very, very new. Like I said, it's not the protocol is not completely done yet, even. So it's really on the cutting edge of that. But ideally, if that works, it's interoperable with the Bitcoin network, with Lightning, and you get super fast, almost free payments, and you get really good privacy on top. So Arké kind of tries to take this new protocol and also just execute it in a way that you don't have to understand anything technical, and also have kind of this creative ambition where I can just, I guess, let loose my inner child here. So that's why I spent a ton of time in Midjourney as well over the years, and I was like, we have all this creative expression now. Why not remix here like fashion culture into something? Let's because let's just pick up this style, this kind of very rich textured. I didn't want to go for the orange, but I was like, let's take this gold style, like orangish, slightly like gold, slightly orangish a little bit. Let's see what we can make out of that one. And I was like, cool, I'm just going to throw all these images in. And, that's kind of, it's just kind of led down the road. So here's, some of you may know this, I've shared it before. This is kind of where you look at some of the Cove, Moon, Blue Wallet, Wallet of Satoshi. Everyone's like, we built the simplest Bitcoin, like simple but powerful kind of. And it's always, some text on the left, and then like some screenshot and maybe a device. So I wanted to see, like, can we do something really, really different? And that's kind of where some of this here come from, right? So you have all these fashionable shots. You still get these simple messages that are completely non-technical. You still get your devices, but it just feels really, really different. And I tried to do some fun stuff in here too. Put in the puppy, or dark mode. You get the dark leather texture here. Security, there's an alligator for no reason. Or privacy, you get these Venetian ball masks. Just like that maybe from some film or so, right? These people at this ball, they wear these masks. You can't tell what their faces are. It represents privacy, in just a kind of a weird way, because I didn't want to just like put a lock icon or so. I was like, see, like, how can we express this differently? And that kind of goes through the app overall too. So now I'll just share some things in the app, and I'll answer some questions a little bit. So when you open the app, you get this. This looks a little bit more 80s style than the other ones. Like, this is also animated. The lady's kind of waving this wallet in front of you, and you're like, okay, what's going on? Sure. And then you create wallet, and then I already shared the link here. I'll share it again. So you actually get a video. I had this design where it's like I had 5 screens, and it was just going to, you have 2 balances, and you can move your Bitcoin around and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I don't want to read this. I put some visuals in there. I still didn't want to read it. I was like, I'm going to skip this if I use this. So I was like, cool, we can AI generate avatars now. So I was like, I've created like 6 different models or so. And then I had AI generate some script and then some voices. And then it's like, cool, we now have like a 2.5-minute video. And it's actually kind of nice to watch these little characters. You can see it on the link website that I shared. And it's like, yeah, why not? And I thought I was really leaning out creatively in this one. I was like, everyone's going to think this is so dumb. But then I showed it to a few people, and they're like, it didn't bother anyone at all. My brother complained a little bit, like, the buttons at the top are a little bit interfering. My wife was like, I don't like how she uses the word cheap. It should be like affordable or low fee or so. But everyone was cool with the animated avatars. So sweet, let's keep going then. Let's keep at it. So yeah, and then when you actually create your wallet, it's like also in Midjourney, I created this animation, like the screen starts black, and then like these light beams shoot out, and this thing kind of disappears, and then like, ta-da, your wallet's ready. Like, you didn't have to pick anything, right? It's just like, just trying to make it feel like something special happened. And that's just kind of the the vibe stuff, right? But this thing also has to be highly usable. If it just looks fun or weird, right, then nothing's gained really. It has to be incredibly usable as well. So the app is split in 3 tabs. Very simple. You have your Bitcoin tab, arrow up, and an arrow down. So this is what it looks like. Actually, let me find another screen here. Yeah, this is dark mode. So this is kind of what it looks like. You have your big balance card and you have your list of activity here. Things you've done. Pretty straightforward. And if you hide your balance, then you get to see a nice Tuscan landscape instead of, because there was another thing where it's like, typically when I hide my balance in a Bitcoin wallet, I see like little stars. But I was like, I don't want to see stars. It's boring. I'll just show you a Tuscan landscape. And it actually, I thought this is silly, but I'll try it. And then I tried it. I was like, this actually feels really nice. I'm not thinking about a balance. It's psychologically, the balance has disappeared. And it makes me feel more relaxed using the wallet just because there's a picture of a landscape now. So there are all kinds of little things like that. Then when you go to send, it starts with a camera, because on mobile, it's usually the camera. That's what you use. You scan someone's QR code. In the bottom left, you'll see a button. That's where you access your contacts. So if you only have one contact in your contact list, it's one image. If you have two, it's 2 images. If you have 3, and it's the actual images of your contact. So this button is super dynamic and represents exactly what's in your contact book. So you can just tick a contact, press send, and it's done. No need to deal with addresses, basically. If you have something on your clipboard, you can paste that. And then you'll notice there's a little toggle at the top. So if you tap the toggle, or if you tap the tab at the bottom again, then you'll get to the text input. So if you're like, okay, there's like a visual input camera, highly visual, very smooth. But then we're like, okay, sometimes you just want to enter an address and enter an amount, or you scan something, it shows you the address, and then you just press send. And it's the same for receive. If we hop over to the receive tab here, it has a kind of a visual view. It's like, here's a big QR code, share your payment info. Or you can say, well, I want to see the text. I want to see my addresses specifically. So there's like, in both send and receive, there's like a visual view for like very intuitive use. Quick, hold it in front of someone's phone or so. And then there's like, okay, now I actually just want to manually enter something or so. And you can go back and forth between those two. And I find it feels pretty nice and smooth, those two. And then you can toggle between Lightning and other stuff in there too. There's a lot of logic in the send also to detect all the different address formats, and tries to figure out what's in the invoice, and just if they have a BIP 21 URI with multiple addresses, it matches it against what balances you have and see which one's the best one to send, and tells you all this type of stuff. But at the top, I think it's pretty straightforward. Then going deeper into the app, you have a bunch of supporting things. You basically have, this is a concept that it's important for Ark, where you have basically an on-chain balance and you have kind of like your Ark balance. It's like you're having a Lightning balance and a Bitcoin balance. I just call them payments and savings. There's almost the term Bitcoin network, Lightning network is pretty much used nowhere in the app, or Ark is not really used anywhere except for like some address specific thing. You just have payment savings. You can send, receive, you move money between. So all the technical words are basically gone there. And as a user, you just need to know, well, the payments balance is like, okay, I pay almost no fees. It's really fast. But once a month, I'm going to have to pay like a maintenance fee. That's it. That's just how the Ark protocol and all this stuff works. That's just necessary. So if I want to have low fee, lots of payments, that's the right one. But I just need to understand I have that fee. And then the savings is like, okay, transactions are slow and their fees are much higher, but there's no maintenance fee. So money I just want to sit there, that's where I put it. So you don't really have to think about like, oh, I'm boarding my Bitcoin to L2 Ark server VTXOs, or so it's like none of that. Tried very hard to find good lingo there. Then you have tags to organize your stuff. You can filter by tags. This is kind of what contacts look like here. This is a default contact that's in the alpha test where you can get test Bitcoin. Here are settings. Here you can, for the recovery phrase, you actually have to scratch it off like a I don't know, you buy a lottery ticket or so. So there's a reveal button too, but it's more fun to actually scratch it off. And this is when you delete the wallet. It looks very intense to make sure that you don't do the wrong thing. And there's some other stuff, more developer stuff in here too. Like this is a page I called X-Ray, where if you're like a developer or you're like a hobbyist, you can go and see all the technical details of everything. And then I guess one thing that was a bit tricky here, and then maybe we can over to questions or other things, is the activity. I tried really hard to make this as simple as possible. And there's quite a lot packed in here. I don't know if anyone cares about that, but ideally, there's a lot of logic in here. Like, for example, if like the text received, if it's still pending, it says receiving. If it's failed, it says failed receive. The icon here on the left, if there's no person assigned or no tag, it just shows the icon. If you have a person assigned, then it would say received from Esmeraldo Lopez. And if there's a tag, this little tag shows up here on the right. If you don't have a contact assigned, the tag will be shown much bigger here on the left. So really trying to pack in, and here you can also see it says moving instead of moved, just to show that it's status. It's currently happening. So there's all kinds of logic and details going into these. There's the repeat of the icons because it's something that's related to your balance. Those are the same icons or visuals used in the balance screen. Yeah, and then when you look at a transaction, I'm hiding all the technical details behind this thing here. So for anyone who cares about VTXOs or whatever, they can get that. But otherwise, it's just very simple. It's like, oh, I received something, or I sent something, or it says receiving and is blue if it's still active. Or it tells you if there's a fee. Sometimes there's like a little extra line of text to tell you where you moved it from to. And then one extra detail that probably no one cares about, there are very subtle patterns here in the background. The wave means it was sent via Ark. This one means it was related to your balance. There's also kind of a block thing. It was a blockchain thing. And there's a variation of the wave with little zigzags. That means it was a Lightning transaction. But no one probably will care about that. It's just something that I enjoy. So that's kind of it. Here's something I shared recently or just yesterday with, I've been in close contact with the second team who works on the Ark implementation, where I have a lot of back and forth. I been testing using their beta software or clients for a while, and we're discussing a lot about how some of these technical terms will end up in user interfaces. So with Arké, and then there are another couple few people working on these first clients for this protocol. The language that we use is probably going to stick. So it's kind of important to find the right lingo here very early on. Yeah, and then here's a bunch of other screens because I'm trying to really think about how this thing comes across. But that was it for now. Let's see, what questions do we have? You think about websites: sophisticated, elegant, high-end, modern, tags and notes like traditional wallets. Oh yeah, one thing that let me show one more thing. One thing that I think is actually that I wish all wallets had. I think I didn't add it here. Let me see. Let me see. There is another screen, which I can never find. I'm going to try to find it in my workspace here. I can never find that one. I'm sure I have a bunch of copies of it somewhere. Weird. Maybe it disappeared. Ah, here it is. Here it is. That one. Yeah, this is also something that I think, like my brother showed it. He has that in his bank app. It's a fee summary, which haven't seen in any other Bitcoin wallet. It just goes through all your transactions, sums up this is how much you send, and this is how much you paid in fees, and then it calculates the percentage. So ideally, you can be like, cool, I paid 0.01% in fees, and this is so much better than Visa, whatever I'm doing. Or maybe you're like, oh, well, I didn't use this very well. Maybe I should use more ARK versus, or should use my payments balance more rather than my whatever balance or so. And then at the bottom, there's, I split it up into transaction fees and maintenance fees. Um, yeah. So this is my kind of my first stab at this one. I'm sure it has to be refined, and a lot of these things are kind of first stabs. A lot of things, but yeah, basically trying to really think through everything in a lot of detail. Like you've seen, there's this custom QR code, and people are going to say, well, look at how detailed this QR code is. My old Android phone is not going to be able to read it. I'm like, that's fine, because you can just tap it, and then it shows you the non-fancy, very simple QR code much bigger, and then you can scan it. And I tested it, and it works fine. So we get the fanciness, but we also get the usability, like for the edge case right away. Um, yeah. Okay. Let's see. Who is your ideal customer? So I guess customer implies some type of transactional relationship. So I started this as a prototype. It was like, how far can I push this? Can I even do this? Can I? Because this app's about 100,000 lines of code, and AI has written all of it. So I was like, can I even do this? And turns out I can. So this is close to getting on test flight where more people can test it. I don't have this to. I don't necessarily. I'm not 100% convinced that this has to be become an app that's live in the App Store. If people like it and find it useful, great. But even right now, I can use it. I can go around. We can send sats around. I can go to a conference. We can use it. I can discuss this with other people who work on wallets. We can update the Bitcoin design guide based on these kind of practical implementations and some things I learned along the way. It helps the conversation around how Ark can become the Ark UX, basically, how people can use this. Eventually, if this becomes a real app that's in the App Store, then and we talk about customer, meaning there's a paying relationship, then I would probably go into something like software paid features. I don't know, batch transactions or some other useful features that regular person user doesn't need, but maybe some pro users will. And the ideal customer, it's definitely people in the Apple ecosystem, because this is not run on Android. This is Swift. They rely on iCloud, Keychain, all of the kind of Apple software that's provided, which if you use an iPhone, you use it anyways, right? So there's no other third-party servers involved. It's just the things you already trust and use. And probably people who also maybe not take themselves too serious. I guess with the whole style and feel, I I think the high fashion type of thing, this is more something to be playful. This is not meant to be like, oh, it's so exclusive. You can only use this if you wear a fur coat or whatever. This is more like I don't know, a cultural remix of thing, like seeing open source software as like a means of creative expression. Um, and if people who love that, just that richness of the UI, and like if the intro, someone tells you how it works rather than you having to read it, is open for something more playful, more fluid or so. Um, yeah, I think that's it. So, but I mean, generally, open source, Bitcoin, Lightning wallets are a tough business. There's not an insane amount of users, so this is not something that will be like, oh, next month we'll start a business and incorporate it and have thousands of users, whatnot. Because the Ark protocol also has to mature, and then building, just like we saw with Lightning, it takes like years to build out the infrastructure, all these servers, and then it matures, and there's liquidity and professional operators for these servers, and people get on board with everything. So yeah, this is more started as a prototype, and then we will just see how far we can push it. Yeah, Shrash, what's up?
Yeah, so I think right off the bat, the the visual design is so amazing. I forgot that this is like a wallet in the ecosystem that we are like used to, because it's so functional, so dry. Usually, it's too functional, it's too dry, it's too technical, and this is just the opposite of it. So fantastic. Like, I do have like thousands of questions, but I think one question that I will ask is um, like the app looks just like you said, like there is no mention of arc and like out of round stuff, and like this is like all of the technical things are so well hidden, but they do have to exist, right? So what was like, so where were a couple of like places where these things have to come up, and how do you like introduce them, and how do you talk about them, how did you design the UI UX around them? Because arc is different from lightning, it's different from on chain. So some of those things, if you can talk about them.
Yeah, for sure. That's the hardest thing. And so I was actually thinking to having a language selector in there, and so by like this would be the default language, but I was thinking of having the second language would be technical English, and that's where everything would use all the technical terms just for fun. So you would say like offboard to arc, or unilateral exit, or BTXOs and all this stuff just for fun. So if anyone wants to, because why not? We can just use AI to translate everything. It'll do a really good job, and maybe it could be a fun thing too, because why not? So with Arc specifically, there are kind of 2 or 3 very unique actions, and that is getting your Bitcoin into an Arc thing on the layer 2, getting it out, like in and out. That's called onboarding and offboarding in technical lingo. There's the refresh. So so basically, an Arc server batches everyone's stuff, and then once a month, on Signet, I think once a day. But then later on, once it's live, once a month, that has to be refreshed. It's like it has to go back on chain to just kind of update the latest state, and then just kind of recreate, our virtual setup the batch setup then. So that is called, and that's where your balance has to be refreshed. That's what I called the maintenance fee earlier. So you just have to do this regular maintenance. The term refresh actually works pretty well. I've also used the term refresh in there. And so that one I'm not super happy with it. So basically, in your payments balance, there's a little thing says payments balance refresh, status urgent, or it says status okay, or status expired or so. So you get this. And then in your, there's also, like, once the time comes to do this, the balance card also gives you an indicator. It's like, oh, she should do this. Now, on the technical side, the team is working right now the app cannot know when the next refresh is. Like it happens every hour, and you have to be there like on the hour to participate in this refresh. But right now the server doesn't share any information about, is it like on the hour, is it like 17 minutes after the hour or so. But they're working on implementing that. So with an update, then I'll be able to say, hey, make sure you're online in 35 minutes to do this refresh or so. And then eventually it'll also be easier to schedule a wake up or so, where the app can wake up in the background and participate on it or so. That's something where it's definitely not perfect yet. Right now, you're just going to have to manually do it. Then but the hardest thing is the unilateral exit. That is so that's the absolute emergency thing. So if, let's say, so yeah, we always have an Ark server that helps facilitate our payments, but let's say that goes away, then what do you do? The good thing is that even if that server goes away, you can still recover your funds. You have basically, whenever you interact with the server, it's almost like you get a backup transaction. So if the server goes away, you're like, cool, I can just broadcast this backup transaction, and then I'll get my money back. It's kind of expensive. It takes 24 hours because there are multiple steps involved, but that's kind of, it keeps the servers honest, and it's your fallback plan. And that's a pretty complex process. So it was initially, the team called it unilateral exit, which sounds more like something if like certain company leaves the World Health Organization or something like that. But now they changed it to emergency exit. I just call it solo move. Yeah, just because moving Bitcoin around is called a move, and I was like, this is a solo move. But there are multiple steps, multiple types of on-chain broadcasts involved, and you also have to be online for some of them, and at the end you have to claim it. And that was really the hardest work. First of all, for me to understand it, it took a really long time. And then I had so many screenshots of this in variations. At some point, I had this really long, let me see if I can find it. I had like this 6-screen process in there. Oh yeah, it was like recovery in progress. I had these videos of these girls doing weird yoga moves, and then they were like clapping at the end once it was done. So it's like, oh, here's the recovery in progress. This can take so long. And then you had to approve it. And then I had this extra box here even, where it's like giving you an additional box where it's talking about the recovery. It took a long time, but I think I'm getting close. Now it lives more in like your regular transaction list as a regular entry. It just has like 1 or 2 extra states where it's like, oh, you need to approve this now, or this is pending for another 3 hours or so. And it's not like, it doesn't have this massive term anymore, like emergency exit. It's just called a solo move. Like you move your Bitcoin between balances pretty regularly. This is like just like a special type of this type of move. The second team does not like the term solo move. So, but there are also some challenges that is definitely not done yet, because you're only really supposed to do that if the server goes away. So the app can know if the app doesn't have maybe no internet connection, or it has not been able to connect to the server for 3 days. Then it can be like, okay, you should do this move. Or otherwise, if you try to go to that screen and for some reason you want to click this move, the app can tell you like, hey, you actually have a good connection. There's no need to do this. Are you really sure you want to do it? So I think this can be done in a pretty smart way. And those things definitely require a bunch of extra text that people have to read through. I don't think that's completely avoidable. And there's a whole bunch of stuff around, like right now, the Arké cannot tell you how long it's going to take or what the fees are going to be. Bunch of stuff missing there still. But yeah, that's one of the unique things, and it'll take a whole bunch of iteration to find the sweet spot where people can smoothly navigate this without having to run into technical lingo.
Yeah, so I think that's where like I had a question. Is like, how do you like plan to like inform the users that they might have to do a solo move? Because if I'm a regular user, I don't even know that this is something I might have to do. So is it like something in the onboarding saying, hey, we use this, or like, I know that you're like really trying super hard to not use the technical terms and things like that, and I think that's awesome, and I feel like the app is doing an amazing job of that. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, this I like have to show up every 24 hours to basically do this. Do I like I should be telling the user that they will have to do that, right?
Yeah, I mean, ideally, eventually, so the app could also do it silently. The reason why I've surfaced some of these things in the app right now is because there are fees involved, and I didn't want the app to kind of silently drain the wallet. You know, that's that. I mean, everyone hates that about banks when all of a sudden they quietly increase your monthly fee, and then all of a sudden you're like, what happened? So for now, to be a little bit careful, I put that kind of in people's faces. It's like you're gonna have to pay something here. Right? The app's very strict about not draining your account without your knowledge. Um, but yeah, ideally later on, you know, there are like wake up systems where you can like, oh, set a timer for 35 minutes or so, or wake the up app in the background for in 35 minutes or so. I don't have that perfectly thought out. I know there's another team, the Blix team is working on a Noah wallet, and they have a much bigger server infrastructure where they keep track of that stuff. And then I think they keep sending these notifications to wake up the app in the background to then do things on users' behalf. But I'm trying to not do that. Um, Part of it is also I don't I don't want to. Well, first of all, I want to keep it simple. Just rely on the least amount of server stuff possible. Then the like I said with like this knowing when a round happens, the protocol's still evolving, so it might actually be really easy 3 months down the road. We don't need to do anything else. Um, yeah, so we'll see where all this lands. It just needs more time. But I really think, you know, all users. The most obvious answer is, well, you need to do this as soon as you need to do this when your server is not available anymore. And when your server is not available anymore, you cannot send or receive. So you will know that your app is not working properly anymore. Buttons will be disabled. It says server not available or so. So it's going to be pretty clear to you because like the main functionality will not work anymore. And then the app can recommend to do this solo move or exit or whatever it's going to be called.
Yeah, super amazing. I don't want to take up all of the oxygen in the room, so I don't know, maybe some other people have some other thoughts or questions or things like that. But I just said this looks pretty amazing. So awesome.
Thanks, Ashraj. One interesting note for you was is so I have a system in here where, let's say I receive a payment from someone and that person is already in my contacts and I saved their address into my contacts. The transaction will automatically be assigned to them. So it tries to be smart like that. But then the second team did an update where for ARC payments, there's no sender address anymore, which is really great for privacy. You get transactions and there's no indication who it was from. So on the one hand, I was excited. It's great for privacy. On the other hand, I was like, man, my nice feature is now broken. I can't automatically, assign contacts and make sense of all the transactions that are coming in. But yeah, the privacy side is pretty good on this too.
Yeah, I think like Lightning also has or is going to have similar features coming in, or maybe some of them are already there. And I think that's like a part of the history, right? So like sometimes you want to hide who the sender is, sometimes you want to tell who the sender is. I think it's called like a proof of payment. in the lightning world. So like in that, sometimes the sender wants to like inform the receiver that I just sent you some money. And in that case, what I think is happening is that in the invoice, that information is communicated, and they're like doing it like that. So maybe second will also have something similar in the future, but I think that's like definitely something super interesting where it's like, yeah, this contacts thing is something super intuitive, and every app does that in some way, like that's like a financial app or things like that. But then at the same time, you want to balance the privacy aspect of it, and then how do you do both of those in a way that's like,
Yeah,
that makes sense. That's that's an interesting challenge for sure.
it's a fun one. It's fun to work on this, to just kind of go at it. Yeah. Any other questions? Did I miss anything in the chat? My eyes are wide shut. Yeah. So test flights coming up soon. Just waiting for reviews to happen, and then you're welcome to sign up for it on the website. Got a whole test guide that takes you through all the different features. There's a faucet built in where you can get some free Signet Bitcoin, and then we'll see. How do I get the dependencies? I download Xcode. How about we have that as a separate conversation? Yeah, Miguel, what's up?
Amazing, man. As always, from you. Thank you so much. Yeah, like so far it looks like a very complete flow.
Sorry,
I
I have
mean,
a.
we're going to invite a lot of people to it.
You're breaking up for me. Is it for everyone else too, or is it just on my side?
Can you hear me now? Maybe I can take out the video.
Seems better. Yeah, now seems better. Your connection symbol went to green. Okay. No, you're just muted.
I can type it out, but I think the internet is going down. But
Oh, no.
I can type it out.
Okay.
My question is, how does
Really seem to have gone down the internet now. Yeah, it's any other questions? What does success look like for you after this project? So that's the question. Well, what after means here? The second team, they're working pretty hard to get this protocol implementation done, and then get it on mainnet, and then slowly, real people will start using this, and then, as usual with these things, it needs to harden and mature, and ideally Arké can kind of harden also during that time and maybe help with the first users or so. I'd like to present this at different conferences or do some workshops and user testing. So I really want to see how far this can go. I want to, convert, and there are a lot of topics in here that I think can inform the Bitcoin design guide as well. The whole layer 1, layer 2 topic, which affects, it's with Ark, it's with Lightning, it's with Spark or Liquid, all of these other things. How do we allow people to navigate that smoothly? The contacts thing, Yashraj already mentioned. Yeah, whole bunch of stuff in there. BIP 353, the human readable addresses, that's already supported in there. Not having one, but reading them and paying to them. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff in there that I think is going to make for a lot of really interesting conversations. And so we'll see. I mean, maybe this is something that can last multiple years. I am not sure for now. Like I said, the start as a prototype, just trying to push really hard on it and see how far how far this can go. And maybe it will be a real app in the App Store. Oh, actually, is one other thing that I mentioned. This actually started as a desktop app initially because when I started it, there were no mobile bindings. I couldn't run Ark on an iPhone, so I started as a desktop app. And then my idea was always that you have a desktop and a mobile companion that are always up to date with each other between Apple devices. You can sync that really, really smoothly. And then the desktop app would do some of the syncing stuff that happens in the background, because our desktops or our laptops are usually open. Like, you have a lot of apps just running in the background. That's a common thing, but you don't have that. And iOS doesn't even allow for that so much. But yeah, that was a thing. But there are some very technical, difficult things that I have no idea how to do. But that could be something where you kind of have this desktop app, laptop companion. But I mean, real success really looks like people use this prototype or test flight or alpha version. People are excited about it and agree that some of these are good best practices in design, user experience design, and also maybe we see some of these implemented, and we just overall raise the bar of the Bitcoin user experience. That's really kind of the larger goal. Yeah, what Rashash is saying, you can get the code from Xcode if you don't want to wait for test flight. You can download it and build it yourself if you want to run it right away. But it seems like there's some dependency stuff that has to be sorted out. Yeah, any other questions? Any other thoughts? Any other ideas for goofy features to implement? Anyone interested in test flight? There's one more goofy feature that I have. Let me see, can I find it? Yeah, I guess in terms of design process, this was really interesting because typically I spend a lot of time in Figma first and lay everything out. But because this one, I started with doing multiple individual prototypes, and Liquid Glass came right around the time I started doing that. So I started actually prototype first, and then started via AI implement Liquid Glass and just see what does that look like? What are my visual options here? And then how should I design so it works with Liquid Glass in a good way? Like, where can I rely on the built-in stuff, and which things should be customized, and try to find that balance. So it was much more kind of a code prototype iteration first, and then I would occasionally, like you've seen, I've taken a ton of screenshots, and then I would take all my screenshots in Figma, compare them, maybe take an individual component, see how, mock it up, and then go back into code. So the AI supported, or auto coding, whatever you want to call it, that really changed my whole approach to design. If you looked at the designs, you probably see a whole bunch of clashing colors. Like the greens and the blues don't really fit well with everything else. Those are just standard default OS colors. I need to work on the color palette, so that's something I haven't really gotten around to. But it was really interesting to work that way as well. The whole design process changed around. Yeah, this has been Claude in Xcode. That's it. I didn't use any other tools, just Claude in Xcode. So in Xcode, which is kind of the Apple development environment, you also have like the sidebar. And since a week or so ago, they have kind of agents, Claude agents, but previously it was just Claude. And it was kind of dumb at the beginning because I worked with, like I said, I started with a macOS app and then started an iOS app. And when I worked on iOS, in every prompt I had to say, this is for iOS, because otherwise it would just get confused. But somehow it's gotten smarter and I don't have to do that anymore. When I started October, November or so, there were always 2 or 3 things that I would always add to every single prompt to make sure it didn't get confused. But that's gone now. It's really improved quite a lot. So yeah, I've also heard from Michael, who is designed on the Bitcoin Core app, who works at Trezor, that he's also doing a lot of AI prototyping and also software development now. where previously they didn't code at all. So this is really seems to really changes how we work. Same with the visuals, busting out phone next to an alligator or Venetian ball mask prototype mock-ups or so. I mean, you can just do so much. And then if you watch the video that I shared earlier, you can have people talk and gesture and all these things. So I'm really excited about not just the coding tools, but also the text stuff or image generation, anything else. Go for it, V.
Okay. It said that any goofy feature if we would like to see. So I had this one feature in mind so since it's like an arc and lightning as well. So it could be that just onboarding users to the lightning app and then having this mode, like turning on the mode like arc mode or something. And if we just click on that toggle button, we have all the arc specifics. I don't know if I was able to like I don't know. Did you get the idea?
I didn't totally get it. Can you say it again, please?
Okay, I can show you something. Maybe you can
Please.
understand like that. So we have an app here. Okay, can you see me?
I see you.
Uh, So we have an app here in India called Blinkit. So it's a delivery app, whatever you want. So since it's Valentine's going on, so it has this cool feature. If you can see that it's a hug day today. So this is like Valentine's mode on, and this is like single mode on. So if you do this,
Oh,
it
nice.
turns it to like you can have that. So just the same thing, but
Yeah.
like you're onboarding user to this simple lightning mode sorry lightning app,
Yeah.
and then when they click on the arc mode, they have all these specifications of the arc
Yeah. Yeah.
thing.
Yeah, that's so you're saying Lightning and Arc as the two wallets or protocols or so, or did you mean kind of like the technical, non-technical toggle type of deal?
Can be that as well.
Yeah, but you meant Lightning and Arc as two different wallets.
Lightning and arc,
Okay.
yes.
So the interesting bit is that Arc was created to kind of address the weaknesses of Lightning.
Okay.
In Arc, with Arc you can also, you're connected to a server and that can make Lightning payments for you. So it's fully interoperable with Lightning. You can use Lightning,
Okay.
you can receive, you can send, no problem at all. The good thing is, the benefits of Arc is that you don't need liquidity, you don't need channels, you don't need to be constantly online, all this stuff. So I think that's the Arc, ideally kind of for a normal end user, it makes it so you don't have to run any Lightning specific stuff. You can use it, but you don't have to deal with like the complexities of Lightning. But I really like that is really nice, UX thing, that single versus Valentine's view. I like that
Yeah.
one.
I'm actually currently working on the Zeus app. So I'm trying to because they have lots of like things going on. They've also implemented eCash right now. So I was thinking of having something similar in that as well. So just shared the concept.
Yeah, I was there's a thread happening. I don't know where it is in the eCash channel or so, with Kelps from Sovereign. I also just tested Sovereign, and I was also kind of confused about the language with eCash, where it's like, oh, this is a melt and this is a mint, and I was like, what's melting, what's minting here? Like, can't you just call it a send or a receive or so? So yeah, I mean, I'm sure Zeus has the same thing with now Bitcoin, Lightning, and eCash and all of this
Mhm.
stuff.
It's
Um,
all mixed up.
but I really think, as an end user, like what I said, what I came up with for Arké is like, well, you send, you receive, or you move between your balances. Send, receive, move. That's it. It's like, yeah, okay, this one was sent via eCache, and this other one was like a Lightning Bolt 12, whatever, blah blah, and that's fine. But it's like, okay, I just sent this much 2 minutes ago to this person. Like that's what I. So, but it's very hard to get to that point to kind of just kind of strip yourself of all the technical stuff.
Yeah.
That's a really hard thing.
Yes.
Yeah. Now,
I was thinking of doing a technical toggle as well. I was thinking of doing maybe a technical toggle that if you have that on, then you are an advanced user, and if you're just a beginner, you don't need to go through all that, whatever there is in that app. So
yeah, I mean, I've heard that many times. The idea of when the beginning you're saying, I'm a power user, I'm a normal user, but I think the trick with that is, how do you know who you are, and are those really two distinct tracks? If I pick the simple one, do I feel like, well, I'm going to miss something out because I'm not the power user, but then I get on the power when I'm it's like it puts people in front of this difficult choice. So I like the idea of like you provide a really, really simple, happy path, and at all times you allow people to dig deeper, which, with Arké, it's, I mean, here's a comparison of like here transactions across what they look like across Arké, Phoenix, Blitz Wallet, Moon Wallet, and Wallet of Satoshi. And here's like, oh, cool, invoice, LNBC, blah blah. I mean, who cares? No one can make sense of this.
Yeah.
And like, yeah. There's always a lot of stuff that can be left out, I think, and I hit basically everything in technical details. It's like, cool, you want it?
Yeah, I like that as well.
Yeah, it's actually helpful for me as doing development as well. But yeah, it's I think with Zeus you really have to figure out if who the target audience is, and I'm not convinced it's like broad mainstream end user. It might be more of a hobbyist Bitcoin fan or so. But yeah, that's a bigger discussion to have with Evan probably. But I think from a design perspective, it would be interesting to make a mock-up. Mock-ups are cheap. Strip it all out, and maybe everyone likes it.
Why not? Yes. I was working on the lo-fi wireframes right now, but yeah, let's see.
Yeah, sometimes people have to see it to believe it.
Yep.
Let's see. Yeah, we're at the hour here. Thanks for tuning in. I would love to hear your feedback. Let me know if it's ridiculous. I'm really trying to make it ridiculous. But the only person that said something that they really dislike was someone who really disliked the word solo move. Like all the weird visual stuff, people seem to be cool with it, which is a good sign, because then we can do more weird wacko visual stuff and just have a good time with it. But yeah, any feedback, positive, negative. I'm hoping to get this on test flight soon. It's going to be Signet, so it'll be free, worthless Bitcoin you can send around, good for testing. And there'll be some bugs, but I'd appreciate anyone who is willing to spend a little bit of time to try this out and let me know what they think. And so let me know if this really achieves the goals, this project achieves the goals that it's set out to achieve. And if not, that's also cool. Then change course, do things differently. Yeah, any last words? Any other questions or thoughts? Let's wrap it up. There's an Arké channel in Discord. Arké.cash is the website. Appreciate any other feedback even afterwards. All good? Cool. Then I'm going to stop the recording here. Thank you all.